Nice bells. I thought I'll switch on a minute earlier because they're so beautiful. Hey, well, they're not going to stop. But those of you that know me know I'm Penny Dix, sometimes called Planetary Penny, and I'm an astrologer and I'm a life coach. And I'm here tonight to give you the inside information about the new moon tonight in Leo. The new moon was actually this morning at 04:42 Central European time. So it's gone new, but the energy of a new moon lasts for approximately 2 weeks until we get the full moon, which will be the next one we're doing, which is not till I think it's the 2nd of September. But for tonight, okay, so what I'm going to start with is the overview of how this new moon is affecting the planet in general. And then I'm going to talk about how it's going to affect you all individually, because we did that last time and that was quite good, so that you all know where you should be sowing your new seeds to give birth to new projects and new ideas. But let's start with the planet in general, because we know what a mess it's been in the last few months. Is that going to change? Well, it will change, but we've still got a way to go. And there's something about this new moon that is actually saying that we're all ready. We're all kind of roaring to go. We're at the start line. We just want to get on with life and start afresh. Now, the new moon in Leo, we have to think about Leo. Leo is the lion. Now, the lion is the king of the jungle. The lion wants to roar. So I think metaphorically, the planet in general really has had enough and just wants to roar and get out there. But we still have my big boys, as I call them, Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in Capricorn, holding us back. Now, what does it all mean? Because the new moon, as we know, is about new beginnings. It's in Leo, so this is about creativity, it's about passion. On one level, it's about if there are new projects we want to initiate, we can really find the passion to put into them at the moment. You know, this is a really, really exciting time. Also, Mercury is conjunct this new moon in Leo. So you've got the sun and the moon, which is like the masculine and the feminine. And then you've got Mercury in Leo that is giving us fire in our belly to what we want to communicate. And what's the fly in the ointment? Well, Mars is up in Aries. Now, Mars is actually making a very nice, kind, easy aspect to this new moon. So we think, hey, that's good. Mars is bringing in his Martian, Aryan energy. Remember, Mars is the god of war. And, you know, we've been seeing quite a lot of civil unrest in various parts of the world. And it's as if the planet is going into a kind of a state of immense change, I think, at the moment. And really, the new moon is saying there's this part of us that really wants to get on with the next bit, find new ways to do everything. Like, for example, airports are now thinking about getting into having quarantine and testing at airports so that they don't have to shut down the whole of the kind of international air corridors, which kind of makes sense. And then it's very much a personal choice if you want to travel or not. But I'm talking about Mars because even though Mars, and in this chart, is in the 9th house, which is all about travel and getting out there, Mars is going to go retrograde next month. Now, at the moment, he's not. And he's making this good aspect to the new moon, which is great, but he is also squaring, which is a hard, difficult, challenging aspect, the big boys in Capricorn. And he's going to be squaring Saturn and Pluto and eventually Jupiter for quite a while. And I'm not talking a couple of weeks, I'm talking months. Now, what this means is that Saturn is like putting the brakes on. And Pluto is saying, Pluto is saying, but we want to transform, we want to change things, we want to get things moving. But Saturn is saying, it's not time. So this is very much about it not being the right time to make and initiate all those changes that you may want to do with your life. So you will notice there are still frustrating delays in your life. So that even this is a new moon bringing in new opportunity. I feel it's a new moon about foresight. It's a new moon about us envisioning where we can be next year, and not so much about where we're going to be in the next few months, because I just think Saturn is just going to slow down our plans. I think on individual levels, there are certain areas that we can make progress in, and we'll get to that when I come to the individual signs and just tell you what part of your chart you can expect the changes and the new moon energy to be in. But just remember that Saturn is kind of just slowing things down and holding things back. Now, when Saturn does this, you have to actually trust what he's doing, because he's doing it for a very good reason, because it's a bit like we get in our own way. So what Saturn is doing is saying, actually, guys, I can actually see the bigger picture, and I do actually know better than you. I rule governments, I rule countries, I rule structure and rules. And what I'm saying, this is Saturn saying this, what I'm saying, says Saturn, is that you're going to really, really have to trust me that this is going to take time, that you cannot get out of this quagmire that the planet has got in. Because if we go back to what I said originally, months back, about what the planet is doing, the planet has made us all sit on the naughty chair and look at what we're doing. What are we doing to this planet? Look how it's recovered in so many ways whilst we were in lockdown, whilst the planes weren't in the air, whilst pollution really reduced. Now, yes, we can't let the whole world grind to a halt forever. Of course, we all understand that. But we have to change our habits. We have to change the ways that we are treating our planet, our own lives, our own world, how we relate to each other. And, this new moon is all about that. Leo is about love as well. Leo is about the heart, the soul, the sun. It's about our very soul, our psyche. We are having a chance here to give birth to new ideas and new ways of doing things, creative, innovative ways to change the way things can work in this world. So just remember that when you keep getting delayed, it's Saturn. And you know what? Saturn is saying, I know better than you, and get out of your own way and just trust that the delays are there for a reason. Because you know what? When we listen to that kind of divine intelligence and actually get out of our own way and do what the divine intelligence is inclining us towards, it's usually right. So listen, I'm going to go through the individual signs now. So I know you're all excited to know how it's going to affect you in your own lives and own charts. So here we go. Let's start with Aries. Okay, Aries. Now for you, this new moon is in your 5th house of creativity, children, romance, projects. So you need to think about what you want to initiate in terms of, is there something you've been passionate about, an idea or a project, a creative idea that you want to set in place? This would be a good time to, in a sense, actually start looking at how you can actually go about that. What do you need to do? What would you need to set in place? Now, this is about sowing seeds. So it's not about seeing the fruits of that straight away. That takes time, and that's where Saturn comes in. So remember, Saturn will be slowing you down to a certain extent. But it's such a good energy to actually set those ideas in motion, even if it's just in here, in your mind, in your psyche, in your soul, that you're formulating and crystallizing these new ideas. So that's what it is for you, Aries. This is an exciting energy for you. Now let's look at Taurus. Okay, so Taurus, it's in your 4th house, which is the house of the home and of family. So perhaps you need to think, maybe, and I think for a lot of Taurians, there's been quite an emphasis and a focus, and I'm just going to have a sip of the water. There's been quite a focus on what you're doing out in the world, and more about work and career and learning and teaching and these kind of areas of your life. And I think this new moon is saying it's time to give some attention to the home and to the family. And because a lot of restrictions are easing at the moment, it's about Taurus actually sowing some seeds of, maybe you need to repair some, rifts in relationships. But this Leo warmth and energy is really giving you an opportunity to show your family how much you do actually care, if perhaps you've been a bit distracted and a bit distant. Okay, Taurus? Gemini, what's it about for you? Well, it's in your 3rd house. Now, the 3rd house is about thought. It's about communication. It can also be about documents and contracts. So, Gemini, what new ideas or new ways do you need to find new ways to communicate? Are you having new ideas in your sort of quiet times when you kind of meditate and think about stuff? Are you having ideas about approaching, say, problems in a different way? Because I think, so actually, Gemini, I think what this is saying is be a little bit more creative about your thinking. Be a little bit more creative about your communicating. And then I think you might be able to get your point across to whomever or whoever, or groups or business or work or friends or families that you feel you need to actually get your point across to. So that's you, Gemini. Now let's move on to Cancer. So Cancer, of course, the moon rules you, and this is your new moon, and it's in the sign of Leo. So it's in your 2nd house of possessions, money, buying property. So maybe you've got some new ideas, Cancer, about how you can look after your property, or maybe you're thinking of, because the property market's been quite interesting in the UK, I believe, because it's actually seen a bit of a boom. So, Cancer, if you're thinking of selling and buying, this would probably be quite a good time to give that some serious thought, bearing in mind that Saturn will slow that down a bit, so that whatever you initiate at the moment in regards to that, it probably won't manifest until next year. But, it's a thing of time. So let's move on to Leo, because, of course, Leo, this is your new moon. And do you know the lovely thing about when we have a new moon in our sign, it brings it very much into our stage, our arena. And Leo, of all the signs, loves center stage. And Leo loves an audience. And I think this, this new moon for you, Leo, which is in your 1st house, so it's very much about you and how people see you in the world, and your get up and go, is about you maybe initiating new ways of doing things, new ideas of how you present yourself to the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, Leo, let's remember that Saturn's still going to be slowing you down a bit. So you may have a lot of new ideas about how you want to initiate things, present yourself, but that's just going to take a little bit more time. Next year is when we really see, some more big shifts. And that goes for all the signs. And we are really just going to have to still mark time a bit between now and the end of the year. But let's move on to Virgo, because Virgo, for you, it's in the 12th house. And this is your inner world. I think this new moon is bringing out a fire in your belly. I think you've been keeping quiet about things, Virgo, for far too long. And I think there are things that you feel quite passionate about that you need to express. And this new moon is giving you that opportunity. And again, I'll say, bearing in mind that Saturn is saying, but bide your time. Sense. Use your intuition to sense when it's the right time to actually initiate what you feel you need to initiate. Libra. Well, for you, this new moon is in your 11th house of hopes, wishes, friend circles. Now, I think for you, Libra, being a sign that very much likes order and, likes to know that you've got everything organized, this year has been particularly challenging for you. It's been particularly challenging for all the signs, but for signs that want to know what they're doing, Virgo is one, Libra is one, Capricorn is one, Taurus as well to a certain extent. So, the earth signs, the fixed signs, don't like this movement, this everything out of our control. So Libra, of course, though, is an air sign, I hasten to add. But for you, Libra, I think it's about, do you know what? You've got to just try and do things differently. This is in your area of hopes and wishes. So dream creatively. Think about what do you want to invite into your life over the next 6 months and into next year? What do you really want to bring in for you? Just dream it. Just visualize it. Just invite it in. Try doing things in a different way. Try and, we've all got to get out of our own way at the moment. So try and get out of your intellect and your cerebral bit and get into your heart. Leo is about the heart. Leo is about passion. Leo is about, power, strength. So go with that, Libra. Scorpio, it's in your 10th house of career and your professional standing in the world. So this is a really nice energy to initiate new ideas with your career. If you've got some pretty kind of innovative ideas of how you can be creatively kind of change the way you work in business, then this is the energy that you will need. But at the same time, be aware that whatever you initiate at the moment or think of putting in place over the next couple of weeks is going to take quite a few months to manifest. Sagittarius. It's in your 9th house, this new moon, of travel, teaching, higher thinking, higher learning. Well, Sagittarius, you're ruled by Jupiter, and you just want to travel, go, get out there. You want to break free of all these bonds and restrictions that we've had put on us by Saturn. But you have to remember, Mars is squaring Saturn from Aries, so we're all going to still be restricted. I also just want to add, and not specifically for Sagittarius, that this Mars squaring Saturn and Pluto energy it could even, just on an individual level, make us feel a little bit more irritable, short-tempered, aggressive. So count to 10, everybody, before you react. So, use the mindful way of responding and not reacting. But Sagittarius, I think for you this new moon is about, you might be given an opportunity, a new opportunity to teach. And I think it would be something that would be continuing over quite a few months. And it could be quite interesting if that's the area of your life that you're in. If it's about travel, I think it's about maybe initiating ideas about what you would like to do and where you would like to go, because there is nothing wrong with making the plans. I think we just have to allow for the fact that Saturn will maybe put the brakes on and slow us down a bit. But I think for you, Sagittarius, it's about seeing the bigger picture, and it's about knowing that Jupiter is going to come up and have a wonderful conjunction at the end of the year with Saturn. Jupiter's your ruling planet, and it's going to have this wonderful conjunction at the end of the year. And that's just going to be really like a breath of fresh air for you, Sagittarius. Now let's move on to Capricorn. Capricorn has really been through it for the last couple of years, because Capricorn has had Pluto and Saturn, as well as Jupiter, really churning up the whole of the Capricorn kind of world. And this is about structure, stability, everything in order, getting to the top of that mountain. And all the delays that we've experienced this year are very much, of course, they're dependent on what's happened with, the Saturn-Pluto conjunction we had at the beginning of the year. Now, for you, Capricorn, it's in your 8th house. Now, this new moon for you in the 8th house is about some kind of transformation. And if you've been waiting for maybe something to do with joint investments or finance, something to do with other people's money. It can also be to do with inheritances and wills. You may have been waiting for something to kind of move on to the next stage. Like, for instance, with inheritances, we have to wait so many months for probate. And I think the next 2 weeks will show a shift around that, if that's the area that is being affected in your life. If it's just about the 8th house for you and investments, I think it would be a good idea at this time with this new moon. That's my cat trying to break out. Iggy, get down. And and I think it's very much about looking at new ways that you could invest your money with, say, in other things. There's one thing that I think is always safe in times of trouble, and it's a metal which, of course, is very much in tune with our Leo new moon, gold. So gold is the thing probably that is a security and a safety at the moment. Aquarius. Well, this new moon is in your 7th house of significant relationships. So this will be your husband, your wife, your soulmate. And for you, I think it's a chance to start again, to maybe revitalize your relationship. It's also, I think, if you're single, Aquarius, and you're looking for a really significant relationship, then the energy over the next few months is really, really good for that. And it would be full of passion. And then let's finally come on to Pisces, because for you, Pisces, this new moon is in your 6th house of new work ideas and streamlining things and attention to detail, because the 6th house for you with this new moon, I think, means that you are going to be having a lot of creative ideas about new ways to do work. So, for instance, this is your day-to-day work. It's also about, it can be that there may be some kind of thing that you're involved in that requires you to be of service. So this can be like donations to charities, or maybe even setting up some kind of charitable foundation, if you're that way inclined, Pisces. But it's on a smaller scale, it is about new work ideas and just trying different ways of approaching things in your particular chosen career. And remember, because it's Leo, it is about something one's very passionate about, and it's very dear to one's heart. So, okay, so this is what I feel this new moon is about. So basically, be mindful of any short tempers that are around, because that's courtesy of Mars squaring the big boys. And dream big. There's nothing wrong in dreaming. And you know what, collectively, if the whole world, if we just all got together and, well, quite frankly, just dreamed nice things and didn't have this awful kind of competitiveness and criticism of everybody and a lot of kind of irresponsible and difficult behavior that we see expressed. I know things have to change. They will change. We're at the dawn of a very different, I think, age that we're moving into. And I want to say thank you so much for joining me tonight for this look at the Leo new moon. And the next moon video will be on the 2nd of September, and that's the full moon in Pisces, and that'll be via Gozo in the House, and that'll be streamed live. And there'll be, you'll see information about that on Facebook. In the meantime, I would like very much if you could subscribe, if you haven't already, to my YouTube channel. This will be on YouTube tomorrow or the next day. And thank you for your likes in advance, and thank you for your shares. It's just really, really appreciated. And if anyone wants an astrology reading with me or a one-to-one life coaching session, you can find me via my website, and I would very much love to work with you. In the meantime, I'd like to say thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you next time. God bless. Bye.